It was especially dark on those back roads, and I wasn't too familiar with them either. I came around this corner, and I couldn't see which way to go. Well, the kids were scared, and so was I. I didn't know what to do. And then, thank God, I saw this flagman up ahead directing traffic. I can't tell you what a relief it was. I don't know if I've ever been happier to see anyone in my life.
There's danger and death waiting on America's highways and roads. Any moment of inattention can immediately lead to disaster. In fact, more than 40,000 people lose their lives on our nation's highways and roads every year. Hundreds of them in accidents that occur in or near roadway construction. That's why if you're a flagger, you have a very significant role. It's similar to directing a movie.
You all ready, Duke? Ready. All right, rolling.
You ultimately determine the program's success, and many people are counting on you. However, you won't die being the director of a movie. But your performance as a flagger can often mean the difference between life and death for workers, motorists, and yourself. In this program, we'll show you how to protect yourself, the people in front of you and behind you. You'll learn how to communicate with motorists as well as other flaggers you work with. You'll learn how to stop, slow, and release traffic and what to do when unusual situations occur. Let's start with flagger requirements. Being a flagger is serious business. Specific standards have been set by the Federal Highway Administration. These requirements can be found in the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or MUTCD. Part 6 of this manual explains flagger procedures as well as other work zone specifications. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, and the Federal Highway Administration both require your organization to comply with this manual. As a flagger, you must be intelligent and alert, demonstrate a high level of responsibility for the safety of others, and be in good physical condition with excellent vision and hearing. Also, you must be able to respond quickly to an emergency. As a flagger, you must also be courteous and yet have a strong enough personality that motorists will pay attention and obey you. And finally, you must be adequately trained in traffic control procedures. In fact, some states require flagger certification. If yours does, always carry your certification card with you while you're on the job. After all, you can be held responsible for flagging improperly, so it's important to have the proof that you've been trained. Before we get to more of the specifics of your job, let's take a look at the clothing and equipment you'll need. The MUTCD requires that you wear an orange or fluorescent orange shirt, vest, or jacket during the day. If you're working at night, you must wear similar clothing, but it has to have reflectorized material that is either orange, yellow, white, silver, or fluorescent versions of these colors. Regardless of which color is used, you must be visible from a distance of at least 1,000 feet. You may be required to wear a hard hat and steel-toed shoes for your own safety as well. Check with your supervisor. As you get dressed for your job each day, remember that federal law requires you to have a neat appearance. This neat appearance includes wearing a shirt. The reason for this requirement is that a neat appearance is more likely to capture a motorist's attention and respect. If your clothes are ragged and dirty, drivers may not see you and may get the impression you don't take your job seriously. That means they may not take you seriously, which could lead to trouble for everyone. You should be given a paddle which says stop on one side and slow on the other. This is the most widely used and preferred hand signaling device. The slow side should be orange with black letters, and the stop side red with white letters and border. The paddle itself should be at least 18 inches wide, the letters at least 6 inches high, and both sides reflectorized for night work. Although not recommended for normal use, in an emergency you may use a bright red flag, never orange though, instead of the paddle. The flag must measure at least 24 inches square and be attached to a staff that is a minimum of 3 feet long. The free edge of the flag should be weighted so that it will hang down even in strong wind. If it's necessary to use a flag instead of a stop-slow paddle at night, the flag should be reflectorized. Now that you know what to wear and what equipment to use, let's talk about how to use it. First, you should stand facing oncoming traffic with your back to the work crew. That's important. Even though you may be tempted to chat with other employees or even help out the work crew, especially when there isn't much traffic, don't do it. You never know when a car out of control will come screeching by. Always keep your attention entirely on your job. Second, your station should be clearly set apart from other members of the work crew. Usually that means somewhere between 200 and 300 feet in front of the work site, depending on road conditions and volume of traffic. There's no hard and fast rule here, but be sure you're positioned far enough in front of the work area so approaching motorists will have plenty of time to obey your commands. This is especially important when work zones are located near intersections. The use of law enforcement is normally encouraged for directing traffic at intersections. However, your job as a flagger is equally important because motorists have to adjust to changes in the traffic direction around the work zone as well as respond to the officer's signals. So always make sure you're located well in advance of any work zone that is located near an intersection. If you're working with another flagger, one of you should be in charge at all times. This is especially important in the event of an emergency. Also, the two of you should be able to see each other and communicate with hand signals. Determine these signals ahead of time and make sure they're different from the signals used for motorists. If you cannot see the other flagger, make sure you communicate through devices like walkie-talkies or two-way radios. If you're working in an area where you're the only flagger, you should stand on the shoulder of the road, directly opposite the work area. This way, you'll be seen by drivers coming from either direction. Also, warning signs should be posted well in advance of your position so that drivers are looking for you. For example, on a two-lane highway, there should be a flagger symbol sign 500 feet in advance of you. And before that, there should be other warning signs like these. By the way, always see to it that flagger ahead signs are removed or covered up from the roadway when there's no flagger in position. After all, you want motorists to know that the signs they see are always true and therefore must be obeyed. In some situations, you may be asked to serve as an advance flagger. Usually, this is when there is a great deal of traffic or when road conditions limit visibility. Also, when you work at night, make sure your station is well lit. It's important that you not leave your post until you're properly relieved. Be sure you don't sit or lean on other vehicles that might be in the area. Always follow company procedures and talk to your supervisor if you have any questions or concerns about your job. To stop traffic, hold your stop paddle erect, perpendicular to the ground, and arm's length away from your body. Look directly at the approaching driver, and with your free arm raised, position the palm of that hand in a stop gesture. Do not wave or wiggle the paddle in any way, since that may distract or confuse the motorist. If you're using a flag, hold the staff straight out across the lane of traffic you want to stop. Position the hand of your free arm in a stop gesture as you would when a stop paddle is being used. Once the first vehicle in line has come to a stop, you may want to move to another area of the roadway where you can be seen more easily by other approaching vehicles. For your own safety, never stand directly in the path of an approaching vehicle and never turn your back on traffic. Either stand on the shoulder of the road or in a barricaded lane that has been closed to traffic. To release traffic, stand to the front and right of the stopped vehicles. Turn the slow side of the sign to face them, and with your free arm, signal the motorists to proceed in the proper lane. Once again, do not wave the sign itself to release traffic. If you're using a flag, you should release traffic by standing to the front and right of the stopped vehicles, lowering the flag so it is out of the view of drivers, and motioning them to proceed with your free hand. It is extremely important that you use hand signals. They reconfirm what the sign says and tell motorists exactly what you want them to do. As is true with the paddle, you should not wave the flag itself to motion for drivers to resume their travel, because doing so may cause confusion. If you are releasing traffic into a roadway with only one open lane, you may want to use the flag transfer method. This is when you ask the driver of the last car in line to carry a flag or other device to the flagger at the other end of the work zone. When this device reaches the flagger at the other end of the work zone, he or she will know that the roadway is clear and that traffic can be released for travel toward your location. Then, when the flag comes back to you, the process can be repeated. It's a good idea to give the motorist an extra flag, not the one you use to direct traffic. This will eliminate you being stuck with no flag if someone takes off with yours or in case they forget to give it to the other flagger. If this should happen, get a description of the car and, if possible, the license number to give to your supervisor or the police, so you'll get the flag back. A variation of the flag transfer method is to have an official vehicle follow the last car being released. You'll know to release traffic once you see the official car pass by. A good way to guide motorists through a work zone, especially if it extends over several miles, is to have a pilot car lead traffic. If your work zone uses one, stop and hold traffic until the pilot car arrives. Then release traffic behind the pilot car. If you want to slow traffic or alert motorists of roadwork or other dangerous areas ahead, you should stand to the right side of the open lane with the paddle held erect in your right hand and your right arm held out away from your body. Then with your free arm, motion for traffic to continue moving through the work zone area. If you're using a flag, here's how to slow down motorists. Stand to the right of the open lane of traffic, but again, never directly in the path of oncoming traffic. Hold the flag in your right hand and extend that arm straight out. Then slowly wave the flag in a sweeping motion all the way down to your side, back up, and then down again. At the highest point of your sweeping motion, the staff of the flag should be directly parallel to the roadway, never higher. A good rule for flaggers is this: expect the unexpected. It's vitally important to keep your mind focused on your job so that you'll always be alert and ready to react in an emergency situation. For instance, if a car is barreling down on you, disregarding all your signals to slow down or stop, what would you do? Or suppose it's obvious that a driver has lost control of a vehicle. How would you react? First of all, Always have an escape route planned and get out of the way. Your job is to protect others, but you can't do that if you don't protect yourself first. So think every situation through before it happens and know how you'll react when a problem does occur. Next, warn the rest of the work crew as quickly as possible so they can get out of harm's way. For this reason, every flagger should have a warning mechanism, a police whistle, a loud bell, an air horn, or some other device that is loud enough for the entire work crew to hear. Whatever you use, let the members of your work crew know what the device sounds like, so they'll be able to react quickly to your warning signal. Finally, after you've taken action to protect yourself and your fellow workers, do your best to get a description of the vehicle and driver who disregarded your signals. Tell your supervisor so he can notify the proper law enforcement agency.
I am so thankful that flagger was there that day. Otherwise, well, I don't know what would have happened.
Remember, being a flagger is more than a job. In roadway work zones or emergencies, you are responsible for effectively protecting others as well as yourself. You are the director. Play your part safely.